Hi, we're Jen and Chris Corsi with Thrive Today, and this week we're talking to you about the fact that people can feel like enemies when we fall out of relational mode, right?
All too easy, just like that, we can be in relational mode and something just triggers us and we shift into enemy mode. Now the people around us have become enemies and we're not the best version of ourselves in enemy mode. We're actually a diminished version of ourselves when we're in enemy mode. Your brain is in kind of survival mode. It's just not pretty.
And it can happen so often these days with all the disagreements and the problems in our world right now. It's so easy to become polarized. Even within our own family, even within our marriage, we could disagree about how we go from here as restrictions are lifted. What kind of protections do we need to take for our family, or what do we need to do? We could be on opposite pages, and that problem can easily feel bigger than the importance of our relationship.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's happening a lot, both in the political realm as well as because of the coronavirus. Families are divided, friendships are strained, and we've kind of forgotten who we are in this mess. And we're not staying relational with our big feelings. And so it's just been heartbreaking to see the relational casualties that's going on.
So earlier this week, we talked to you about some ways you can be intentional to stay in or get back to relational mode when you notice you're falling out. Today, we want to talk to you about what to do about the fact that it feels like maybe those people are in your family or friends of yours are starting to feel like enemies. Or it could be your puppy. When she won't go to the bathroom when I take her out, especially when it's raining, she starts to feel like an enemy to me.
Yeah,
pretty
even
quick.
bubbly puppies can
Yes.
put you in enemy mode. So how much more so with our family members and our friends?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, part of what helps us when we're really struggling to see people through a relational lens is it helps to be able to see some of what God sees. And so this is a great way to navigate conflict. Seeing what God sees is essential for forgiveness when we've been hurt or slighted in some way or offended by somebody's words, somebody's actions. So how do we see God's perspective? Well, we know as long as you're focused on pain and what bothers you, you're going to stay in enemy mode, right? Because enemy mode is going to amplify the negative stuff. So focusing on the bad stuff keeps you in enemy mode. So the goal is, how can we feel some of the good stuff? These would be God's gifts. These would be qualities that I appreciate about other people. Just the other day, I was on a radio station doing an interview about the 4 Habits book, and I had a great conversation with my host on the power of appreciation and just practicing, sharing with a friend or a spouse 3 highlights from your day, sharing 3 things you appreciate about that person, and then sharing 3 things you appreciate about God. This is our joy exercise in the 4 Habits book. And just that little 10-minute exercise will put us back into relational mode. So practicing appreciation, remember the good stuff, and then inviting Emmanuel to give you his perspective. Like, Lord, I see my wife as an enemy right now, or my dog Bella as an enemy right now. Lord, what do you see when you look at my wife or when you look at Bella? What do you want me to know today? And I pay attention to the thoughts and the images that come to mind. And I just sense God's delight over his creation, which brings me comfort and some joy. So this is an ongoing dialogue. This is kind of the prayer without ceasing idea here. We interact with the living God until we have peace. And we talk to God about what's robbing our peace. So I suspect there's some areas in your life, or there's some people in your life that, that need a little bit of God's perspective. So you might ask, Jesus, what do you want me to know? Or who do you want me to interact with you about today? I bet there's some faces that will come to mind. And then we interact with the living God until we have peace. On God, what do you see here when you look at this person?
And we have a webinar coming up, or if you're watching this after the fact, in June, on politics and how we navigate this terrain right now and still stay relational. So whether you're watching this before or after, you can still join us on the webinar. Check the resources section at Thrive Today webinars and you can see that. Also, 4 Habits of Joy-Filled Marriages is a great resource for marriages, for marriages are feeling the strain right now. And it just has a lot of helpful exercises that can bring you back to that place of appreciation.
Yeah, it will take a little bit of work, friends, to climb to the top of this mountain to find God's perspective, but it's worth it. The view is spectacular. The peace is magnificent. Interact with the living God and see what's on his mind for you today.